Shimmer in the sun. That's the way she runs. Well, you're crawling on the longhouse driving through Tuscarora Forest, wild and winding. Old fishing banks of my grandpa's. Hard it is to call.
I am Rose Reeder. I live in Swissdale, and you may discern this after a bit. I am very intense about this project. About 6 months ago, we started visiting municipalities. We represent Fair Districts, Pennsylvania, and we have our own group here in Lock Haven. We started visiting municipalities. We wanted to get our resolutions passed, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. People looked at me like I was crazy. They said, 29 municipalities? We have Republicans and Democrats, and you'll never do it. And I said, well, I didn't ask you to help me. I said, I am going to try, and I truly believe that I can do it. And what this process has shown is that Clinton County has leaders who listen to their people. We have leaders that are responsible to us, and leaders who are courageous to stand up on a controversial issue and say, yes, the power of the vote and the individual vote is more important. It is bigger than party. And that's what we're proving. Today, despite the naysayers, we have 100% of Clinton County municipalities having signed a resolution for Fair Districts, PA. Our issue is anti-gerrymandering. Gerrymandering takes away the value of people's votes. There are places in Pennsylvania down in the southeastern corner that their vote has been mangled and manipulated, pushed out, pulled in until the vote is diluted or thrown right out the window. So yes, every one of us does have a vote. Our votes are counted, but some votes are not valued equally. So my phrase was always one person, one vote, and every vote counts equally. That's what democracy is about. And when you begin to learn about this issue of gerrymandering, you know that gerrymandering is wrong. Both parties do it. It's not partisan. Both parties do it, and both parties are wrong when they do it. Our resolution simply says, let's end gerrymandering, which happens behind closed doors, which is biased by whatever party is in power at the moment right after the census. It's not a transparent process. It doesn't really represent our votes. What we want to do is get politics out of redistricting. We want independent citizens to join us, to be chosen randomly. It's a long process, but we will have an independent citizens commission to draw the maps after the census. And you know what? You or I could be on that. We certainly can make an application, and in the random process of choosing people, we might get on that commission, and we really can make a difference. And across Pennsylvania, every day new resolutions are signed. However, no one has gotten 100%. So we are leading the way. Thank you to our leaders who signed the resolutions. And by our getting 100%, people can't ever say again, that's impossible. They can't say it because we did it. And I think that we will help other people have more confidence and strive even harder, and who knows what will happen.
So a resolution just isn't about the piece of paper or the vote to support fair redistricting, but that resolution is given in turn to the respective representatives of your area to let them know, hey, you're in Harrisburg, you need to pass these bills. That's HB 722. One of your representatives, Mike Hanna, we have his spokesperson here today. He is a co-sponsor. And your state senator, Senator Scarnati, not yet a co-sponsor, but let's hope that the 100% passage of resolutions of Clinton County in his district goes a long way to telling him that his constituents want this much needed change. So what is that change? Well, we're really the only democracy in the world where we let our politicians draw their maps. Take that in. That's just inherently wrong. So consider where we're standing. We're in Clinton County, by the river. Well, your congressional district stretches all the way to Erie. And that's not just due to population, which is part of the process of choosing a congressional district, but Erie was split in half. So hundreds of miles away, you're lumped in with an area that really seemingly has not much in common with you. It's on a Great Lake, the demographics are different, and that makes it very hard for the representative to do their job and reach all their constituents. So we're hoping to level that playing field, and as Rose rightly said, remove partisan politics. This is not about being Democrat or Republican, and how about for all of those who are unaffiliated independent voters, they become part of the process. And we say, let's take out of this process of redistricting, and let's make it fair. Let's make it transparent. Let's let the people decide these districts that should be compact and continuous, and they're certainly not. So I've heard a lot that are happening here. People have asked about the lawsuits. Unfortunately, Senator Scarnati has chosen not to be here today as he was named as a defendant in one of these lawsuits, or both lawsuits, as the president pro tem in the Senate, the state Senate. But these lawsuits, they're about the past maps. We're all here today because we need to change what happens in the future. We're asking for true redistricting reform. We don't want any more lawsuits. The lawsuits are costly, they're time-consuming, and they're not going to go away unless we make this much-needed change with the two bills. They're sitting in the House. We ask you to get involved. Clinton County is definitely leading the way to show what can happen, as Rose said, when their leaders listen to their constituents. It's about good government, about accountable government. So continue the fight. I say to people, oh, when they tell me this can't be done, well, you're showing them absolutely it can be done, and that we do want to gain back our voice that has been effectively lost due to gerrymandering. No more party control. It's not to say the parties aren't great. That is part of our system. But let's let the people speak out and have true representation.
Now, I have created a booklet of all 29 resolutions plus the county commissioner's resolution. To me, this is a treasure. It is a piece of history representing Clinton County in such a positive light. So I would like to present that to our commissioners, and Pete will say just a few words for us.
I'm going to bend down here a little bit, Rose. I hope when you were talking about the hardworking municipalities in Clinton County, you had the commissioners in mind as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Very good. All right. And I will applaud Rose's efforts, and we all will. Jeff Snyder, Commissioner Crompton, and I. If you can get all the municipalities in this county to agree to anything, that is a task, that is a momentous accomplishment right there in itself. And I would say that about any county. There's probably no county in Pennsylvania where all the municipalities agreed to the same thing. This started with you, Rose, with us. And we also, commissioners, I would ask if they want to add anything. We had a conversation with Commissioner Jim Hertzler in Cumberland County, who spearheaded this effort in the Harrisburg area. Do you know Jim Hertzler? And he spoke to us at one of our conferences, and he talked to us about this issue. But there is represented Republicans and Democrats on your Board of Commissioners. This is not a partisan issue. But when we looked at the maps of the state of Pennsylvania, when we studied the history of congressional and senatorial district lines, this is about a principle. This is why the three of us stood by this principle of setting all the politics aside the principle of what you're campaigning on and what you're fighting for, and that is that the people choose their electors, the electors don't choose the voters, and that these foolish, and I'm looking at the maps over here, I saw in some of the cards, the ridiculous lines and the complex geographics. We have discussed this with our fellow Republicans. I have. Commissioner Snyder and I. Paul has talked about this with other fellow commissioners at our conferences in Harrisburg and Hershey about this concept. We're trying to get some of them on board, understanding that what's right is right. This is about doing what's right and honoring the constitutional system that this state of Pennsylvania and this country is supposed to be honoring. And that's why we chose to do this, Rose. We're proud that we did, and thank you very much for the book. And again, the task of getting all the municipalities in this county to agree to this, wow, that's awesome. So that's my thought.
The only thing I want to add, and not only did Rose go to all those municipalities, but I don't think she mentioned the fact that she went back to some of them more than once. They weren't always on board. And I'll tell you what, I was proud of the fact that we had the opportunity as commissioners when we found out those municipalities that we talked to them. Because we're on the right side of this. I wish governing were this easy all the time. This was a no-brainer. It's the right thing to do. Fair elections, no matter what side of the party system you belong to. It is the way it should be. I wish everything I had to do was this easy. And I wish I had people like Rose out there campaigning all the time. But you guys did a great job, and I'll tell you what, we're very proud that we are Clinton County and we're 100%. We couldn't be prouder of that. And thank you for involving us in this and giving us an opportunity to participate. It's all about you and what's right. Thank you. Thank you.
Very cold out, obviously, so I'm not going to add a whole lot more words here. But I did want to say I'm very proud of Rose with the persistence that she had to really dog this thing down to educate people, and that's what it's all about. People hear the word gerrymandering, but they don't really understand what it's about. And she really put forth a great effort to educate people about it, and that's what brought about the 100% participation. She was able to get the point across, and I applaud her for that. But as Jeff said, this is the right thing to do. We really need to get more people on board with this to make sure it happens.
It doesn't surprise us that Clinton County is on the cutting edge.
President Ronald Reagan in 1996 said, "The fact is that gerrymandering is a national scandal." And if they allowed me to, I have a lot more quotes, both Republican and Democrat, but because people are cold and time is limited, I am not going to do that. He also said, "The will of the people cannot be heard." And that's very true. More true in some parts of Pennsylvania, but it's very true. Votes are diluted, thrown out the window. Gerrymandering is just wrong.
Therefore, I, Mike Hanna Sr., House Democratic Whip of the Pennsylvania General Assembly, do hereby proclaim my sincere support of the efforts being made to ensure fair, transparent, and impartial redistricting reform, hope that other counties will follow in our footsteps, and vow to continue to fight for good government reforms in Pennsylvania.
I want to say in closing that Clinton County is on the right side of history, and we are leading the way for Pennsylvania. So I thank you, I thank our leaders, I thank Clinton County. And now
Just when water they raise me, everybody's really pure and free. In all the place that I'd rather be. It's just when it's home to me.